Hey everyone, welcome back to this series on Shopify Online Store 2.0. In this video, we're going to talk about the new GitHub integration with Shopify. This is a very powerful and exciting tool that has come out in the suite of changes that Shopify have labeled as Online Store 2.0. I'm going to jump straight into the tutorial today and show you how we can automatically synchronize Shopify themes with branches on repositories using GitHub. So in today's tutorial, what I'm going to do to illustrate using GitHub in Shopify is to take an existing project, create a Git repository, connect it to GitHub, and then use that remote repository to connect to our theme library here on the Shopify store that we're working on. In my case, it's Chris Testing Shop, as always. All right. So for those of you who haven't really been across version control in Shopify before this, virtually there's only one native way to do version control in Shopify. And if we click on edit code and look inside here, we can see what it is. Let's open up any particular file. And as you can see next to the file name, if we click on older versions, this drop down menu appears and we can revert to an earlier version. This is a very primitive form of version control. It doesn't work as good as Git. Git has so many more features in terms of looking at line by line differences between commits and branches, creating branches for that matter, merging in branches, and pushing and pulling code. So Git is a much better version control system than this, which was all that Shopify offered you up until now. So clicking out of that, I want to draw your attention to an article I wrote last year about using Git with Shopify. I encourage you to still read it, even though it's a little outdated now because we do have this Shopify GitHub integration now. But essentially, this is how I used to do my Git before the integration came out. And because there was no integration, what I would do is I would, of course, have to move the code locally. So I talk about the development workflow here. I would have to move that code locally, as I recommend for all developers to do. And of course, I was using ThemeKit at the time, as Shopify CLI has only just been extended to work with themes, which we'll cover in a later video. So what I had to do was I had to synchronize my theme code with my branches manually. So as you can see here in this little diagram, you of course have your current live theme. I synced that up with a master branch and then have a staging branch. And then if there's multiple developers working on the theme, you can have a branch for each of them. And then they would merge into staging. You would look at staging and then you would merge into master and go live. But the problem with this is you had to do this all manually. And the changes only went one way. So using this one-to-one relationship between themes and branches, we were able to determine which changes had been carried out on which theme. And the only issue is that this relationship, this structure here, had to be maintained by a lead developer or project manager. And perhaps one of the biggest issues is if anyone was to go inside this theme, make a change inside this online store editor, any of these changes wouldn't be pushed back into Git. So Git would only work with your local development environment because you would have set it up in your project. But anytime you make a change in the store, those would not be recorded in Git. And so when you pushed your theme code from Git into the store, it had the risk of overriding any of the code that went in here. Now, of course, there was ways for us to get around this. One of the ways was to always make sure we download the latest theme code into our branch locally and then push after merging any changes that come from live. But it was a manual process. There was a lot of things that could have gone wrong. But now, as you'll soon see with this Shopify GitHub integration, the theme will always mimic the branch. And any changes that we create on the theme on our online store will go back into the branch. So it makes it much more robust and secure than what we used to have to do by keeping these in sync manually. Okay, so I'm going to close down this article and let's get started. I've got my GitHub account here. I'm already logged in. And what I'm going to do is open up my code editor with this project that I have. Here it is. It's basically the debut theme with a styles folder and a gulp file. So This is the same project I had in the video I made recently called How to Use ThemeKit with SCSS. As you can see here, perhaps not obviously, but I don't have a repository set up yet. So what I'm going to do is run git init. Actually, I'll make this bigger for you guys. And then in my terminal here, I'm going to run git init. Make sure that you're in the project directory when you do this. Hit enter on that. Now you'll see that because of the tool I'm using, I'm now got git master. And as you can see, there's 5,000 changes here that need to be added and committed. So I'm going to do git add dot to add everything to our new commit. And as is the convention with using git, I'm going to run git commit and call it initial commit. Hit enter on that. Now you can see that we've made our initial commit. Now I can go back to GitHub over here, click over here to create a new repository. I'm going to call this debut with SCSS. I won't do a description. I'll make this private. Let's create the repository. And then now we can run git remote add origin. They say to make a main branch, but I prefer to just use master. So I skip the earlier steps. I'm going to run clear. And then I'm going to run git remote add origin, followed by the address of our Git repository on GitHub. And then now I can run git push origin master. This will take a little bit of time to upload, but I'll fast forward and I'll see you at the end. All right, so that code has now been pushed to the remote repository. I'm going to switch over back to GitHub now, and I'm going to hit refresh, and you'll now see that our code has been added and is in the master branch. Okay, so now that we've got our repository here with at least one branch, which of course we always have at least one branch, I'm going to go back into my testing shop here, close this down, and let's connect to GitHub. I haven't done this before, so you should be able to see how it works from start to finish. I'm going to click add theme, connect from GitHub, and this side panel is going to pop up. I'm going to click log in to GitHub. It's going to open up this new window here. And here it says that you can't connect through the partner dashboard. Okay, I'm going to log into this store from another account and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back in here. I am in the same account again, but I'm now in an incognito browser. For some reason, I was in the store admin account, but it wasn't working still. So I'm going to try the process again here. Click log into GitHub. Choose the account to log in. And now it's going to ask me to log into my GitHub account. And now you can see that I have successfully connected with GitHub. Not sure what happened there. Sometimes with Shopify, there are login issues related to caching. So I just got past it by opening up a incognito browser. You could probably achieve the same thing by clearing your cache if you're willing to do so. So yeah, just a weird quirk by Shopify there. I was actually logged into the correct account. I just needed to get into incognito to make this work. All right, so as you can see here, we've now got these two drop-down menus. One is for the account and the second is for the repository. So if you're working in different organizations, you can change this account here. I'm going to open this up, click add account, and I'm just going to select myself here. The other two here are organizations that I've worked with in the past. They're blurred out for privacy's sake. All right, so now here you can see it's going to ask me which permissions I am permitting, basically. Is it going to be all repositories or is it going to be only select repositories? Because I've got a lot of code on GitHub outside of Shopify themes, I'm going to click only select repositories and I'm going to select the one that I just created. So it was debut with SCSS. All right, I'm going to click on that one. And now if I go here to click install, you'll see that I should now have access to that account. So I'll go in here again, select my own name for my own account, go in here, and the only repository that I should be able to add right now is that Debut SCSS, Debut with SCSS, wasn't it? Theme. All right, I'll click on that one. And as you can see, this is a list of branches, and we've only got one branch right now, which is master. So I'm going to click connect. And what that's going to do right away is create a new theme that is automatically synced with this branch. Okay, so I'll close down this little side menu here. And as you can see, we've got our new theme. The name is just going to be the repository with the branch after it. But as you can see down here, we are linked to this branch on this repository. So I can change this to Project Master or whatever I want to call it, rename it. You can call the theme whatever you want inside of Shopify, but it's always going to be synced with this master theme. Okay, I want to show you that now. If we go in and preview this theme, I can now make a change locally without using ThemeKit or any other build tool. So I'm going to switch over. And if I simply push a change to the master branch, that change will be synced to the theme. So I'm going to clear this. And then I'm going to go over to, let's do something like we've done before, a really obvious one. Let's scroll down here and just do body. Actually, let's go into our Chrome DevTools and test the change first before we do it. Let's just say, would this work? Background color. There we go. Background color aqua on the site header logo link. So I'm going to take that class, head back into here, and make the background color aqua. All right. Now, in order for that change to go live, we're going to have to add it, commit it, and push it. So as you can see here, our change has been recognized via Git inside our code editor here. And if I go to the source control panel, I can click here to see the diff. Okay, so I'm going to stage that change. And for the commit message, I'm going to say change background color of logo, commit that. And now for that change to go live, we need to run git push origin master. Now that code is going to be pushed to our GitHub repository. And of course, our Shopify store is synced to our GitHub repository. So that change should now be on our store. So if I refresh the page over here, you'll see that we now permanently have this code. And if I inspect it, you'll see that our code that we just inserted is affecting the background color of our logo here. All right. So as you can see, perfect synchronization with the remote repository inside our theme library now. This is really handy. And one of the best features of this is if I go in here and I click edit code, and let's just say I go into my theme SCSS file again, and I remove that piece of code that we just added by scrolling down to the bottom, finding it here and removing it, hit save on that. You will soon see that Shopify will make its own commit to the branch, and that will now sync in the other direction with the GitHub repository. And this is a really big deal because often clients will go into their online store editor, insert code, and mess up the whole process. So having this version control for the online store editor as well is really powerful. Now, the thing to note here is that it might take some time for the commit to go through. So if I go over to my code editor here and I hit refresh or fetch changes, you'll see it might take some time to come through, but the commit should go through to the remote repository. And when we fetch and synchronize the changes, we should start to see that our reversal of that code addition should come through locally as well. So I'm going to click this again. And as you can see, there you go. And the commit message is Shopify Online Store Bot update from Shopify Theme Project Master. There you can see that Shopify is making its own commits as well to make sure that the theme code and the repository are kept always in sync. So this is a really cool feature with Shopify. It doesn't require us to manually ensure that the theme code is in synchronization because we have two-way synchronization now. And if I click library here, scroll down and we can see here that there is a link to view logs. Here we can see all the GitHub integration theme logs. So all the changes in this dropdown that have happened with this theme. Okay, so we can use this to verify that the integration and the synchronization is constantly happening. All right, so now that we've seen how Shopify keeps our branches and themes in perfect synchronization, let's talk a little bit about workflow. So in practice, you would probably have your master branch as the live theme. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to hit publish on that. And I'm going to rename it live theme. Usually you would name this something more descriptive, maybe the date that it went live and the change that you actually made on the theme. For this tutorial, I'm just going to call it live theme, all right? So now your live theme is synchronized with master, okay? And what you might want to do at this point is start a new branch. So I'm going to go into my code editor here and create a new branch. I'm going to call this branch staging, but you could also call it dev or whatever you want to call it. I won't go too much into how to structure your branches and everything in this video. This is more so about the theme integration, but let's talk a little bit about workflow because I want to show you how using this GitHub can really transform and improve your workflow. So I'm going to create this branch of staging. Just going to run a random command here to make sure that we are in staging. And from this point, what I'm going to do is let's create another change. What are we going to do? Let's try and make the body font Times New Roman. Totally not recommended. Actually, why don't we do Courier New? All right. So we'll make the entire body family font Courier New. So obviously using the GitHub integration, in order to see this change, what we're going to have to do is add, commit, and push this change. So I'm just going to review the change over here. Yep, we're going to change the font family of the body. So I'll right click here to stage, and then in the commit message, I'm going to write change body font. All right, commit that change and now publish that branch. I'll fast forward a bit here. All right, so that branch should now be published. And if I go back to my Shopify store here, click on add theme, connect from GitHub, we can go and select that branch. Actually, I think I have to delete a theme because I've run out of available themes. Give me 1 second to do that. Okay, let's do this again. Connect from GitHub, select the repository, same one as before, debut with SCSS. And then now I'm going to connect the recently published staging theme rather than the master theme. All right, I'm going to close down this side thing here. Here you can see our new theme connected to the staging branch is spinning up. As that's spinning up, I'm going to rename this just staging branch or just staging. And let's click on preview to see those changes. As you can see here, we've got Courier New as our font. So if I click onto computed, look in here, I'll show you a bit closer up. Our new font is Courier New. So that verifies that that change has come across. And this is obviously on our staging theme, all right? So we're not on our master theme. At this point, when you've previewed the theme and you like the changes, so you're like, okay, we've got our staging theme ready, we're all good to go. At that point, we may want those changes to go into our master or a live theme. And for that, we run a git merge. Okay, so I'm going to go into my code editor here. You can do this in GitHub or you can do this locally. And I'm going to go over into master. Inside master, I'm just going to run clear so that we can check we're in master. And then inside master, first of all, I'm going to make sure that we're synchronized from all the changes from remote. And then from here, I'm going to run git merge staging. So here you can see it's asking me for a commit message. If I look in here, that's the only change from that branch. I'm just going to click here to commit that. And then I'm going to click here to synchronize those changes with my master branch. Then I'll go back into here, view my live theme, and you can now see that Courier New is the new font family on my live theme. So just verifying it in our computed properties here, there you can see Courier New. So that's a little bit of the workflow with GitHub and Shopify. Previously, you couldn't really merge themes like this, but using the power of Git, you can. So now, whenever you push to this master branch, you can rest assured that the changes you push to this master branch are going live. Now, of course, there's an elephant in the room here, and that is that we don't want to always have to push our code to see our changes. And this is exactly where the Shopify CLI comes in. Now, the Shopify CLI allows you to create a development theme, and you're able to run that locally. So this new GitHub integration actually works pretty well with the new Shopify CLI. And how that works is you can work on your theme code locally, and then when you're ready to see it on your store, you can push that code and then check it out on your store. And so that's what we'll cover in the next video. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video. As always, if you liked this video and you learned something new today, hit like on the video, comment below if you have any questions or comments. And just to note, for all the Skillshare subscribers, I have added brand new videos to all 3 of my existing Shopify classes on Skillshare to address all of the Online Store 2.0 changes. I will be talking more about Online Store 2.0 on this YouTube channel, but for all the latest info, if you want to get it right now and you're on Skillshare, go check out those classes. I've added a few new videos there for you. Until next time, I'll see you on the next video.